Ask Prince William a curly question about Prince Andrew. Let's have a look.
Your Royal Highness, can I just ask, do you support Prince Andrew?
So I can't hear you.
Do you support Prince Andrew? Have you spoken to him recently? Have you spoken to him recently?
5 minutes ago, Buckingham Palace was quiet as Prince William stepped before the cameras. He looked calm, but his voice shook just enough to show how heavy his message was. In a moment that will be remembered in royal history, he confirmed what many had suspected. Prince Andrew will permanently retire from public life. The announcement lasted only 2 minutes, but every word felt like a farewell. In respect for His Majesty's wishes and my uncle's well-being, William said, the Duke of York will continue his life privately, under care, and with the family's full support. This was the final confirmation of something whispered for years, the end of Andrew's royal role. Reporters outside Buckingham Palace stood still. The courtyard, usually filled with tourists, felt eerily quiet. Inside, aides moved quickly but quietly, knowing they were witnessing the end of a controversial chapter in the monarchy. Andrew watched the live broadcast alone at Royal Lodge in Windsor Great Park. The house that once hosted grand events was now dim, with only the sound of the television breaking the silence. When William said private life, one aide later remembered, the Duke simply lowered his head and said nothing. This wasn't just an announcement. It wasn't punishment or exile. It was mercy wrapped in finality. The monarchy had drawn its line, and for the first time in decades, Prince William enforced it. Across the UK, people reacted quickly. They felt sadness, shock, and a strange sense of relief. Because beneath the formal words lay a painful truth. The son once admired as a war hero had become a cautionary tale for a dynasty that cannot forget. Stay with me until the end. The events leading to this decision, the secret meetings, the final letter, and the king's silent approval, tell a deeper story than a simple statement can tell. To understand how the palace reached this solemn point, to understand how Buckingham Palace was in a challenging situation, we must look back to the quiet months of late 2025. There were no scandals or significant events, just many behind-the-scenes changes happening. The palace appeared grand and strong from the outside, but inside, there was a lot of whispering and careful movement, feeling more like damage control. Prince Andrew had been staying at Royal Lodge in Windsor Great Park. The once bustling estate had turned quiet and dull. Staff had been reduced, security had lessened, and he now went to London only when necessary, visiting family or attending dinners with Beatrice and Eugenie. He rarely made public appearances. When he did, he seemed just going through the motions. 20 years ago, Andrew was seen as a rising star. He was a Navy pilot from the Falklands War, full of charm and energy that revitalized a monarchy feeling old. However, time took its toll, and a series of mistakes darkened his image. After a disastrous interview in 2019 and the fallout from his connections to Epstein, he lost his royal duties and responsibilities in 2022. From then on, he became almost invisible, still a family member but no longer in the public eye. Despite this, he held on to hope for a return. By 2024, he began to look for small ways to get involved again, like attending veterans events or standing in for the crown at minor functions. However, his hopes faced strong resistance. King Charles focused on repairing trust with the public, and Prince William was cautious about taking any risks that could harm their reputation. In private meetings, advisors pointed out the risks. We can't take chances. Princess Anne was blunt in her support. Some breaks never heal. Even King Charles struggled. He wanted to support his brother, but he also understood the throne's responsibilities. One insider remembered him saying clearly, "Family can forgive, but representing the crown follows rules." This became the guiding principle for their decisions. As all this unfolded, William was evolving too. He had always connected the old and the new, but became more decisive about setting boundaries. He wanted to ensure that the royal family appeared clean and genuinely trustworthy. Public trust must be earned daily, without shortcuts. By summer 2025, William held private meetings with palace officials. These continuity talks discussed finalizing Andrew's complete exit. It was not a joyful process, just a lot of hard work. The first ripples of unease. Subtle signs of change. The big news stories didn't show the first signs of trouble. Instead, they crept into the daily routines of palace life, shifts only those close to the situation noticed. The invites for the fall memorial banquet went out in early September. Prince Andrew's name was usually included with the rest of the family, but this time it was missing. But soon it was clear, the Duke of York was being left out of family events. At first, people thought it was just a mix-up or a scheduling conflict. Over at Royal Lodge, his longtime assistant noticed another warning sign. The usual bundles of official memos, those crisp folders marked Palace Mail, stopped arriving. Buckingham Palace was quiet, which spoke volumes. Andrew asked but only received vague answers. The King's team is tightening how we handle messages. Everyone understood what was really happening. Secret discussions were taking place at St. James's Palace behind closed doors. Prince William led some of these talks, with Princess Anne and the Lord Chamberlain present. The mood was serious and calculated. They all agreed the royal family needed to stop avoiding Andrew's difficult situation. William said, "It's not meant to be a slap on the wrist. It's about drawing a line and moving on." A turning point came when a top advisor presented a file titled Continuity Strategy, Shifting the Duke's Private Duties. It made it clear, Andrew would no longer make royal appearances. The big question was how to deliver the news gently. Meanwhile, Andrew had no idea how serious things had become. Friends visiting Royal Lodge that month said he seemed restless but still hopeful. One even noticed a binder on his desk labeled Plan for Getting Back in the Public Eye, ideas for charity work as a way to re-enter the spotlight. That approach might have worked in another time, but today's monarchy values openness over old traditions. William felt the weight of it all. People close to him said he struggled in private with balancing fairness and kindness. He respected his uncle's past contributions but felt sorry for his loneliness. Still, he knew the monarchy had to prioritize its strength over feelings. He told a staff member, "The crown can show mercy behind the scenes, but in public, it has to protect itself." Toward the end of September, William visited Clarence's house to inform the king. According to a palace source, their conversation lasted under 30 minutes. Charles listened, nodded, and approved the plans without much fuss. As William got up to leave, his father said, "Do it with some class, my boy. That's my only request." A few days later, a letter arrived at Royal Lodge. The heavy envelope, stamped with the royal crest, contained just 5 lines saying that Andrew would officially step back from public duties, done carefully and privately. Andrew read the message twice and then placed it next to a photo of his daughters. For the first time in a long while, he didn't reach out for help. He walked his estate quietly, hands behind his back, looking toward Windsor Castle. Plans continued inside the palace. William finalized the announcement wording. Catherine took care of the photo and video setup, while the PR team practiced the rollout. They worked as if on a mission, keeping their personal pain from the public. Meanwhile, people sensed a change. Newspapers speculated about a big royal decision coming. Social media buzzed with questions. Is Andrew sick? Is he coming back? Or is he completely cut off? This uncertainty was the last thing the family wanted. Every royal family faces challenges, and the Windsors were no exception. Should they have allowed Prince Andrew to improve, or was William correct in focusing on the monarchy's reputation? What happened next in the Buckingham Palace meetings led to a final decision from the Crown. Inside Buckingham Palace, the meeting that sealed Prince Andrew's fate. On a gloomy October afternoon inside Buckingham Palace, a key meeting about Prince Andrew's future took place. Attendees included Prince William, Princess Anne, the Lord Chamberlain, and Sir Clive Alderton. The mood was serious as they faced tough family decisions. William led the conversation, feeling the weight of a file labeled Ongoing Strategy, Duke of York. Anne bluntly stated, "We can't go back, William. The public won't accept it, and the family can't either." William understood but felt the emotional impact. Sir Clive mentioned that the king wanted William to deliver the news for a more substantial effect. William agreed, while Anne reminded him to keep it simple and gentle. Meanwhile, Andrew was in his office at Royal Lodge reflecting on his situation. He called Camilla for support. She told him, "You're not disappearing. You will have a chance for peace." Back in Buckingham, William reviewed his speech with Catherine. She urged him to see it not as humiliation, but as a way to protect the family. Still, William worried about how it would affect their father. That night, the media team prepared for the next day's announcement. William would speak live, giving a carefully planned message. Anne said this moment would resonate with people as a sign of courage. As the palace settled into quiet, the king reviewed William's speech, adding a note, "Do it with heart." Meanwhile, Andrew sipped a scotch alone, thinking about how his past could have been different. Between Buckingham and Windsor, the royal family faced the complex reality of letting go of their history, piece by painful piece. The announcement, William steps forward. At 9 a.m. on October 8, 2025, Buckingham Palace opened its doors to many cameras. Inside, Prince William stood at a podium with the family emblem shining under the lights. This moment was critical. After talks with His Majesty the King, we decided that the Duke of York will step away from public duties for good, with support from his family, William announced, his voice serious. This decision shows our commitment to responsibility and moving forward. His short statement felt like the end of a chapter. As he left, reporters reacted outside, spreading the news. William seals Andrew's royal exit. People in London responded differently, with some older folks in tears while younger ones nodded in understanding. It showed that no one, not even royalty, is above the rules. Meanwhile, at Royal Lodge, the Duke of York quietly watched his nephew's speech. He sighed as he absorbed the news. "No one's waiting on the line anymore," he told his assistant when asked if he should make a call. King Charles watched William pridefully at Clarence House and noted how well his son spoke. The press office highlighted Andrew's past contributions but stressed the royal family's need to rebuild trust. By the end of the day, news reports praised William for being brave, while others called him cold. The decision carried weight. The past had changed, and the silence that followed was significant. Andrew poured himself a drink at Royal Lodge, raised it to a paused image of William, and said, "You had no choice," before turning off the screen. The rain fell steadily outside, marking the end of an era. By the next sunrise, the monarchy's decision becomes the world's conversation. The next morning, the royal announcement took over the news with headlines like, "William delivers tough update on Andrew's royal future." After months of rumors, it was clear that one of Queen Elizabeth's sons would be stepping back from royal duties. In Buckingham Palace, staff worked quietly, trying to maintain calm. The PR team focused on conveying a respectful message while ensuring the family appeared unified. The main point was that they were moving on, not punishing Andrew. At Royal Lodge, the usual activity was gone. Reporters waited outside hoping to see Andrew, but the blinds were closed. People close to him said he was not bitter but accepted his situation. One friend told the Telegraph he took it in stride, preferring a quick end over a long wait. King Charles followed the news closely. He knew changes were needed for the monarchy to stay relevant. Public opinion was mixed. About 69% of Brits supported the decision, recognizing it was a difficult but necessary step. Globally, reactions were varied. Some praised William's calm, while others felt the announcement seemed too scripted. Meanwhile, William and Catherine continued with their schedule, attending a children's event, though those who saw him noted that he looked tired. Later, William received a simple note from Andrew. It read, "I hope he finds some calm and that he follows his gut." William kept the note without saying a word and put it in his bag. As night fell, the palace grew quiet. Andrew's absence was felt deeply, reminding everyone that while grace can help heal, the past remains. The verdict: a monarchy sheds its past. As evening fell over London, the light from Buckingham Palace shone through the fog, representing beauty and deeper issues. William's words earlier that day changed the family's balance between tradition and reality, highlighting the complexities they face. It was necessary, but it also brought pain. Andrew's life had quieted down in Windsor to a few loyal helpers and regrets about missed chances. Those close to him say he has found some peace as he reflects on his past away from the public eye. The royal story, filled with a complicated history, shares a common theme: humanity, imperfect and relatable. At the palace, William thought about his speech on responsibility and grace. He accepted his future role as king, but felt the pressure of family ties. His message was clear. Authentic leadership means recognizing flaws instead of aiming for perfection. Healing often happens away from public attention, and sometimes it's best to step back. As the Windsors look ahead, the world watches to see if they can balance emotions and responsibilities during tough times. What do you think? Is it about justice, kindness, or a mix of both? Share your thoughts. If you believe in second chances, give a thumbs up and subscribe for more on this royal story.